to another episode of the Adeptus Ridiculous podcast. My name is DK Diamantes. My co-host is Bricky, and he's going to be filling us in with all the crazy details of Warhammer 40k. But before he does, if you enjoyed today's episode and you want to support the podcast, head over to patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous, where you can join the Discord if you support. You can get the digital posters at the $15 tier. We hit that landmark goal, so you'll be getting a Dornian Heresy and Blood Angels episode sometime soon. And also there's the comic. There's the Skola-themed anime manga comic that everybody just adores. Patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous. Bricky, tell them the other stuff they should know.
Thanks, man. Your descriptions are excellent. Go to orchid8.com in the description. Check out the merch. You got a whole bunch of little guy merch. And in fact, we're going to be having some new merch coming out very soon. It might be this week. It might be next week. I don't know. I don't quite know yet. We'll find out soon. There will be new stuff. Very exciting. Also, read Day of Ascension, which I guess now that it's October, we should probably get on that. So, So get on that.
Get on that.
Get on that.
Get on.
Pick yourself a piece of that Klondike bar. Break me off
a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
You know, I had the spirit.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
That's right. You've been to the county fairs, right?
Once or twice.
Did you ever have any of those like horrible, overly deep fried things?
The only overly deep fried thing I've gotten at county fairs was funnel cake.
That's not too bad. It's not good for you, but it's not like one of those things where you look at it and you want to throw up.
Yeah, it's not like deep fried butter.
There's one of the few options I've ever had that I simply could not finish, which was because it was too much. At least when I was a kid, when I was like 15, which is shocking because you could eat anything at that point.
Oh yeah.
That was a fully deep fried chocolate dipped Klondike bar. That was
wow.
It was the Klondike bar frozen, deep fried, and then dipped in like the hard shell chocolate. I wanted to try it out, and it was fucking trash.
Wow, so they took the Klondike bar, deep fried that, then took the big deep fried mass and dumped that in more chocolate?
America moment.
Holy shit.
America moment.
Yeah, that is so Merca.
It was considered the Heart Attack Cafe, but they renamed it to Slanesh's Palace because of the unspeakable excess of calories.
Oh yeah. Oh god, the Heart Attack Grill. No.
I was very proud of that unspeakable excess of calories. I expect a round of applause from everybody here.
Oh yeah, everybody give
thank you.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
Excellent.
Well done.
All right.
Well done.
With that out of the way and the stupidity gone, let us talk about today's episode.
Hey,
so like with the last episode, we talked about the Votann, the squats, the little guys, shy, being a coward, and not leaving in our little guy conversations. You fuck. Leave them in, you cowards.
Come on, shy people pay good money for this.
Cry about it,
little guy
lizard
content, you know?
Lizard gif. Fucking dancing lizard cry about it.
Yep. Full screen.
Yep. People definitely aren't tired of it yet.
Oh no. How could they be? It's so funny.
It's extremely humorous. Anywho, that is actually what was our last episode is. The Blood Angels episode will be next week. This is a confirmation stamp. Click, next week. It is next week. Today, though, we are going to be continuing our Votann episodes, and we'll be talking a little bit more about some interesting stuff that I learned in the Codex, doing some rereading, and we'll be talking about the 5 major League of Legends. We will be talking real virgin hours up in here.
Don't like it.
Listen, League of Legends isn't good, but at least it's not Valorant.
I mean, that's fair.
Yep.
Yeah.
One is
so bad.
Well, actually, I think Valorant's pretty fine of a game, but I would never touch that with a 10-foot pole with the people who play it.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yep.
Continuing from here, so let's talk about more of the Votann leagues and the fun, interesting facts about the Votann. So,
Hell yeah.
let's go ahead and start off with the concept of their travel and soul. I thought was interesting. So this is just some tidbits of things I found neat as I was reading through it. So the kin have a very dimmed soul, much like the Tau. So their souls in the warp are not very, very large. This could be a combination of factors. One might say that it is because they are just little guys.
One wrong put right. But the great book of grudges remains full.
They're just more void hardened, you know? One would definitely is more assumed, I would say, that is because they are clones.
Oh, that would make sense.
The fact that they're clones is also a pretty good reason, I would say, that they're definitely a little bit lower on the warp's totem pole. They actually have an interesting example in the Codex where they talk about how the Grimnir, or the living ancestors, the ones that commune with the Votann, are psychers, but they shine slightly brighter in an obscured way, like the aperture of a lantern being slightly larger open. It's not like you're not looking directly at a plain flame. There is still like glass between it, but the aperture is just a bit larger.
Grimners are still they clone Grimners, right? Even though they're psychers and everything, they can still clone those with decent accuracy and all that.
You know, I actually don't know if Grimnirs are cloned. My thoughts say yes, but they're very specific, and it wouldn't surprise me if they have like their own kind of special cloning process or lineage. Maybe it's a part I haven't read in the book yet, or in the Codex yet. But I'm not 100% on that one. But it would make sense that they either have some fancy way to do it, considering the way they are. But because they're also
just a little
like,
different from the normal ones. Yeah.
They're also like revered, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like they're
of course
super
they would,
revered.
because they're the ones that like speak to the cores and relay the core's message or something, right?
Yeah, they speak to the Votans, and they're very much like universally respected. They actually, there's a funny stratagem in the game where if a character of yours is, I think if it's a warlord or a Grimnir is killed, then the opponent gets like a whole bunch of oh, is this the one? Personal grudge? No, not personal grudge. Different one than that. There was well, it's funny enough that there's a stratagem called personal grudge, which is
very
pretty
Votann.
great. Oh, here it is. Newfound nemesis. If your warlord or a Grimnir is killed, the unit that killed it gets 2 judgment tokens, 3, which is the max if it was a Grimnir.
Wow.
So it's like, hey, you kill our Grimnir, our well-respected elder, you're getting max tokens.
Yeah, that's a token.
And then tokens don't go away, so pretty crazy.
Damn.
Anywho, that psychic part away. The actual piloting of their ships I thought was really fascinating. So each ship is commanded by something known as a Void Master, is a captain versed in spacefaring and stuff. And they are supported by Ironkin Wayfinders, which are, you know, little like AI cogboys. And they help chart and create paths through the warp for the Void Master. And it says specifically without risking psychic interaction, which is strange because it makes you assume that the Void Master is a bit psychic, much like a navigator. Because
navigators kind of have to be, because you need to navigate the warp, and that's kind of a prereq.
But we've also found that the Votann have a signal in the warp, and these guys have AI machines helping them plot their warp course to, and I quote, without risking psychic interaction. Not like psychic instability, psychic interaction. Which makes it assume that they straight up don't need to use psychic abilities to go into the warp. Which I guess is true. Because navigators navigate into the warp. They don't need it to go in the warp. That's what like the warp drives are for, right?
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Oh, and Shai's right. Necrons have to navigate the warp, and it's not like they can use psychic energy either.
I don't think Necrons navigate the warp. I think they have like classic faster than light travel. That's because they're so advanced. They just go fucking fast. The inertialess propulsion system is utilized exclusively by the Necrons, who are capable of interstellar travel without the need to enter the warp when using this technology.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. They don't have a They have the Dolmen Gate that Shai mentioned. It's the portal that was helped develop by the Catan, but I don't believe they don't use the webway in general. They have genuine FTL travel that is warpless because the Necrons are ludicrously advanced. I mean, hell, they don't use the warp, but they have fucking like magicians. They have mages that's like crypto. Like they can control time just because they're so good at science.
Mm-hmm. The cryptomancers or whatever they are.
Chronomancers, yeah.
Chronomancers, yeah, not cryptomancers. They're into cryptocurrency. They
Imperium,
use their...
watch out for my Bitcoin.
Be careful with those Bitcoins, you know. There's TikTok rappers will steal that right out from under you.
Got silver on my fingers and boots
on my feet.
Gonna cringe.
Always be a goat, not a goddamn sheep.
I hate it. I hope that ankle bracelet is really tight.
Yeah, blockchain magic, baby.
Anywho, so the Votann technically travel in very short plunges. They have very quick, like, in the warp, out the warp, in the warp, out the warp. It makes it take much longer to reach destinations, but it's far safer. And they arrive where they want to and on time almost every time. They don't need to worry about warp time fuckery or mistranslation. They do very quick, like, bloop, 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 bloop.
That's fair. I would imagine a group like the Votann would want to be more like, yeah, let's arrive on time exactly where we want to be rather than risk, timey-wimey bullshit and ending up like 3 years away from where we actually want to be. Yeah. That seems like a very Votann dwarf efficiency deal. Sure.
And also it goes along with their being very slow part of it as well.
Oh yeah, because they're dwarfs. Yeah, they just got tiny little legs. Yeah.
No, they just got little legs, little guy legs.
Little guys with little legs. Yep. Yep.
As for other interesting tidbits I found in the Codex, they don't have a name for the Eye of Terror. They believe to give it a name would lend more superstition to something that's already menacing enough.
Huh.
And so they don't name it, but they do name individual warp storms. And one of them, they have a war zone known as Orgvayr. Orgvayr. Orgvayr.
Orgvayr, sure.
There's an umlaut over the O, so I'm fuck it.
Orgvayr.
Herbie Derby. Wake up, Gary. It's Leif Erikson Day. Hinga dinga durgan.
Oh no.
That's a SpongeBob. You don't get those.
I don't.
Shai makes a good point. Warp Storm Ian just smashed through Florida. That's okay because everyone there worships chaos already.
Yeah, they're all fine. Don't worry about it. They're jet skiing in the ocean and chaos reigns supreme.
They're jet skiing in a typhoon. They're flying.
Yeah, well, I mean, I saw videos of people jet skiing in the ocean during the middle of the storm.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Fucking Florida, man.
Yeah, Florida, man.
But during this war zone, it's kind of part of the whole like Nachmund and Nephilim areas with the Octarius War. They themselves were having issues with Chaos M who are running away from a whole bunch of world eaters bearing down at them. And there's a little battle here and there, but the world leaders got one of their Grimnir, and now they've created this massive grudge against one of the world eater lords because of course.
Naturally, because they took a Grimnir, yeah.
Anywho, just interesting little tidbits about that stuff. Let's talk about the actual factions.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
So there are 5, as I mentioned in the last episode. We have the Greater Thurian League, the Trans-Hyperian Alliance, the Kronus Hegemony, the Ymyr Conglomerate, and the Urani-Surtr Regulates. The Greater Thurian League is the main one. It is the largest and one of the original Leagues of Votann, but it continues to be the largest. The amount, it has over 200 kindreds in total, or over 200 kindreds. Very large.
Oh, there's a lot of kindreds.
That's a lot of kindreds. There is a giant amount of people. They go to far space actually a bit more often. You know, they have the old quotes, sailing to far space, as in like it's a fool's errand.
Oh, yeah.
They go out there actually a bit more. They trade with a lot of other people. They act as mercenaries for a lot of others. They're your overall box cover classic big boy faction.
All right, the gold standard for the League of Votann.
The gold standard. They also contain the only current named character in the Votann, which is Uthar the Destined.
Hey, wow, there's 5 leagues and there's only one named character, really?
Yeah, normally, I mean, there's only one. Oh, wait, no, they changed this recently, but there was normally only one named character for the Custodians, and now it's Trajan Valoris, but then they added Valerian and Alea from the book. But it's, there's only a couple. I think there's only one named character for the Admech. I think it's just Call.
Wow, really? That's the only named character for all of the Admech is just Call?
I think on the tabletop, maybe. Because I'm referring to the tabletop.
Yeah, you'd think with such a massive faction, they'd have tons of named Admech.
Let's see. Nope. Belisarius Call. It's the only one.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there are a couple in Heresy era and stuff, sure, but like.
Yeah.
Just
but like
Call.
current Warhammer, it's just Call, huh?
Just Call.
Huh.
Uthar the Destined is actually an interesting character. He's quite good in game. He's very goddamn good in game. But one of the Votann, the kindred of Vortun, which I believe is what his kindred was, had their Votann spout forth a weird screed of prophecy. The information is really muddled, and it's an old transcript that none of the kin really understand. But on that same day, in the Crucible, a new person was created. And also the Votann made a very special blade known as the Blade of the Ancestors. One fancy, powerful blade and one single kindred that day. Or kin that day, sorry. And so, because of that person was bestowed as Uthar the Destined. They don't know what the prophecy says, what it means. They don't understand the script, but they do know that something's up. And so they gave Uthar the sword, and since then he has been spending his time living up to his name and being one of the high calls for the Greater Thurian League, and doing a pretty gosh darn good job.
So this is gonna be a classic case of DK's about to repeat everything that Bricky just said. But so you're telling me there's a prophecy. They have no idea what said prophecy says or how to interpret it. Only one person was made that day, and only one sword was made that day, so they figure it's all just part of the same prophecy, and sure, give him the big sword and hope for the best. And he apparently did turn out really good.
He did turn out really good. But what could you imagine would happen if you were in his position?
I would assume a lot of lofty ambitions, and he'd probably become a super tryhard because he feels like everybody's like, oh, you're the destined, you're the special whatever for this prophecy we don't understand. So I imagine he would become a big flaming tryhard and maybe eventually betray them because
You
I just
are-
posted
okay.
a image of Obi-Wan saying you were supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them.
You are right until the end. Or
Damn,
you
Shai.
are half right. Uthar is apparently a bit cold in his demeanor, as everyone kind of looks up to him and holds him up and all that kind of stuff. But he has some gallows humor and that kind of stuff. You know, some cold, like, he has a very
sure.
down to earth persona apparently. But in reality, he's actually got quite the large amount of imposter syndrome.
Oh, so he's got that Kane syndrome.
He uses his gallows humor and stuff to conceal the doubt, the real doubt that, like, how do I know it's me? Like, you made a sword and I just happen to be born the same day. Like, you know, I would never go against what the ancestors believe. Like, the ancestors, I truly trust them and all that stuff. But I don't know. Like, you're expecting me? I'm the destined for what?
Yeah,
What am
you
I
don't
the
even know
destined
what
for?
I'm destined for. You don't even know if the prophecy's talking about me. Like, yeah, I could say I could get a little imposter syndrome from that. Also, I like his gold bronze helmet. Looks way better with that on than bareheaded.
Bareheaded. Yeah, I mean, well, the gold. I think the gold helmet is the normal call. He's the one on the left with the beard.
Yeah. Okay.
But
The gold
and
helmet
he
looks way
has
cool,
the fancy thing on top, and that's the special blade of the ancestors and all that good stuff.
Hey. Yep.
So, anyway, that's Uthar, Great Thurian in the League. That's his whole big shtick. The next one we have is the Trans-Hyperian Alliance. These are a interesting little group that are the furthest traveled of the leagues. Many of them are the prospects that like to go out and bring stuff back for their league. These are definitely the most mobile. They are the ones that like to explore. They are adventurers. They seek trade routes, trading partners. They're looking for mysteries.
Ooh. You can also see him coming a mile away with that orange armor.
I don't think they're orange. I believe they are
they?
more blue.
But I thought
No, you're right. They are orange. They're orange.
Yeah.
You're right. I was wrong. You're right.
Their armor probably resonates in the warp because it's so goddamn orange. Everybody's like,
Dude.
oh, there's the Trans-Hyperian Alliance in the warp. How could you tell? There's this big orange spotlight.
It's fashionable, DK.
I don't think you know what that word means. If you
Well,
think
that's definitely true in general, but you know what they say.
orange is the new black. Yeah, it's fair.
Anyway, the Trans-Hyperian Alliance, they actually hold a ton of territory, but their territory just isn't like overly filled with people. They have very large like swaths of territory, but they're not overly populated. They're kind of sparse in certain areas, but they're always kind of quiet. They're kind of isolated, but they keep very well connected as they move around and explore stuff. Shockingly, they have and this is interesting to note. In the codex it says they have a remarkable 3 Votann, which is interesting to assume the fact that they have that 3 Votann for an entire league is known as remarkable.
Yeah, that's... Well, I guess... I was going to say, we haven't really talked about, like, how many Votanns is normal. I just assumed 1 per league is normal. So, like, when you said, oh, yeah, they have 3, I was like, wow. Like, isn't that's significantly more than everybody else's. Like, they have so much more, like, I don't know if I want to say processing power, but you'd imagine that they'd be the #1 league since they have so many more Votanns.
It's definitely a questionable thing because the Greater Thurian League is 200 goddamn kindreds, and I expected more than a singular Votann, but just, and I quote, even the League's Votann, of which it boasts a remarkable 3, is just, oh, it's interesting. I didn't realize 3 was so crazy. Maybe the GL or GTL have 3 or something as well, but that's like because the Trans-Hyperian Alliance is a bit smaller. Overall, that's even more surprising. But the Votann are actually always mobile. They are nestled deep in extremely fortified void ships, and they're carried in fleet flotillas. and they're actually, the location of all 3 Votann are constantly being tracked and shown to the rest of the League in order to make sure that they always have it protect him, because they are very much frightened of, you know, getting raided, and so whenever that might happen, they all just run their ass over there to go help him.
Right. Because you definitely don't want to lose a Votann, let alone
definitely.
3 of them.
Yes, three mobile flotillas.
Yeah.
They are as close as you can get to like genuine religious fervor in terms of the Votann. Obviously, there's a little bit of a religious thing going on with the Votann, but they're more than that. They have like offerings and stuff that they leave there at times. They're a bit more than the average. There's like a little bit of a light cult kind of thing going on in the Trans-Hyperian Alliance, and it's not disliked, but it's kind of getting a little bit spread out a little bit more than before. So there's a little bit of a thing going on there. They believe that exploration is a way to bring back information to the Votann and enrich the Votann and make themselves more powerful.
Okay. I don't know why I don't find it that unusual that they like worship the Votanns.
Probably because worship is so fucking common in 40k that we just assume.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Fervent worship of chaos gods and or the emperor or technology is so fervent in 40k. It's like, of course they worship the machine AI thing. Why wouldn't they? Goes without saying.
For their actual like in-game stuff, they have their custom is known as Honor the Ancestors. They have their warlord trait is Nomad Strategist, you know, kind of moving out and about. Their relic is really interesting. They have something called the Corv Duos. It's originally fashioned aboard the hold ship of Irva's Kindred during the years of the Longest March. These Corv units contain shards. Corv is like the little floating guys next to the Grimnir. You see the little yeah. These Corv units contain shards of psychoactive crystal recovered from a scintillating anomaly. Like escorts around a capital ship, the Corv Duos employ their psycho-amplified resilience to shield their Grimnir from harm. At the same time, the empiric resonance generated by their presence magnifies the fortitude of the Grimnir's barrier tech, helping them ward off enemy manifestations. So, having it gives them both of the little Corvs extra HP, and it makes you able to deny enemy psychic powers better.
That's why.
Kind of fun.
That's pretty poggers, sure.
Yeah, it's okay. It's fun. Oh my god, I totally forgot about. Okay, I forgot about 2 things. First things first. The Greater Thurian League in-game stuff. GTL has like ruthless efficiency, pragmatic wisdom, aspiring glare is like a stratagem to allow you to put judgment tokens on people. Kind of funny. But I've totally forgot where. Okay, I gotta find this in the book, because this, when I read this, I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Floored.
I was, are you fucking kidding me? I was shocked. I am accidentally pushing the book on my keyboard, and I'm
it's token raid.
There we go. Okay, here it is. Those kindreds whose hold, this is about the war zone, Ogravir or whatever. Those kindreds whose holds lay directly in the invader's path now face a difficult choice: to hold their ground against the onslaught, or to fall back in the face of growing enemy strength. Blah, 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 blah. They could talk via hardened Lascom relays. Kindreds named are the Kindred Crimson 2, called Starbreaker Kindred, Kindred of Votann, and the Deep Rock Kindred.
Oh, wow. They knew what they were doing.
How shameless.
It's literally in the book.
Deep Rock Kindred. Are you fucking kidding me, GW?
Shame on you, GW. Shame on you.
Do you have
Rockin'
shame? Rockin' Stone. Do you have no shame?
None, GW. Zero shame.
Do you have no... God damn it.
You
fucking
have
hell.
no marbles.
Oh. All right, next league. Next one we have is the Kronus Hegemony. This is when you want to go to war.
These are the fighters.
They are a relatively young league. a kindred's fane. Like, okay, so this is the weird part. If you remember, there's the 4 aspects of each kindred. There is the hearth, the crucible, the fane, and shit. What was the 4th one?
And shit. Wow, I love that one. That one was just...
Hearth, the hold, I think is the one. I think it was the hold. Because it's where they live, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
No, it's the forge. The forge. That's right. The hearth, the forge, the fane, and the crucible. The fane is the one that was tended by the living ancestors, aka the Grimnir, and it flows the wisdom of the Votann, where the Grimnir interface and communicate with it. However, the Kronus Hegemony says that the kindred's fane, the fane, achieved self-awareness and became a newly formed Votann.
Wow. That's kind of a big deal.
Well, it confused me because I thought the Fane was there to communicate with the Votann, but they said their Fane achieved self-awareness and became a Votann. I thought the Votann were old school things given to them with mining stuff. Way back when.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit confusing.
That is a little weird, yeah.
I'm not quite sure exactly what's the point of it, but it specifically says, founded less than a millennia ago when the Fane of Khorne's kindred achieved self-awareness. This newly ascended Votann exhibited an aggressive drive for knowledge and a demanding appetite for raw materials.
Did they just tell us how Votanns were made?
But a Fane getting... I thought we figured out that Votann were an old thing given to them during the way days of the galactic core.
Yeah, but they apparently made one. Well, I don't want to say they made one, but I don't know. I don't know, man.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't get it.
You're the one with the answers.
I thought I was. I'm scared. DK, hold me.
No.
Oh.
Gross. You smell.
Wow. How dare you? We all smell. We're Warhammer players.
Anyway. Oh, yeah.
Anywho, it had that massive appetite for knowledge and raw materials, and that gave them this want to get as much knowledge and raw materials as they could, which lends them to having extreme aggression, sometimes just outright belligerence. This group, the Kronus Hegemony, are forever on the march. To join the hegemony, you must provide an offering that they appreciate, that they want, and swear lifelong oaths of martial service. Your entire point of your kindred is to train and focus on war.
Wow.
In fact,
lifelong martial service. Holy shit.
In fact, a kindred who wishes to join must provide a quota of conquered enemy worlds and the materials of the worlds back to the hegemony to earn their place. And often, kindreds in the hegemony will find any excuse to go to war with aliens because they want to meet their quotas.
Wow. You're right. If you want to fight and you want to go to war, you join the Kronus?
Kronus Hegemony.
Kronus Hegemony, yeah.
They're aggressive and ill-tempered, and you gotta think about, like, they want any excuse to go to war, and these are fucking dwarves, man. they don't need much. They do not.
I heard you
much.
whispering something. I assumed it was a slight against me. We're gonna kill your planet now. What?
Hell yeah.
What?
Their customs are like battle prowess. They have bloody expectations are a name of their stratagem. Their trait is the exemplary hero. These are the melee faction. For those of you who play the tabletop, they get an extra attack on the charge and extra strength on the charge, and they hit hard. They have
they should.
Their relic is called the Just Blade. Rumor has it that this mighty axe is the deadliest weapon ever to be fashioned in the forges of the Kronus Hegemony. A phase-modulated plasma field wreaths a polytrinate blade that has been witnessed to cut through feet-thick armor plating and even energy fields as if they were not there. It is said within the hegemony that so deadly a weapon must only be wielded in a truly justified conflict against a deserving foe. Hence the name, the Just Blade.
Yep. So they'll really only break this thing out if they're like fighting, like if they're just conquering a planet that doesn't really have a big military force, they're not gonna bust out this blade. But if they're fighting like Chaos Space Marines, they'll break this thing out.
Oh, yeah, a just war, a just grudge, one might even say.
Yeah, it's true. If they're going after someone that's got a lot of tokens, yeah, they'd probably break out the blade too.
All right, second to last we have here is the Ymyr Conglomerate.
Cool
my
boys.
personal favorite lore of them all. I love the color scheme as well. I love the red. I think it looks.
You just want
fucking
Among Us
great.
models.
I do want Among Us
You
models.
sussy bitch.
I want to be Sus.
Sus.
They actually look fucking dope though. Their exo armor and
really
stuff,
do.
really cool. Now, what is the most powerful force in the galaxy, DK? Of all the things, what is the strongest?
Obviously in 40K, it's hate. It's
Wrong.
faith. It's faith.
Wrong as well.
What? Money.
Incorrect. Exactly. It's money.
Let's go. It's money.
Money, baby.
Money.
It's money.
It's all about the Benjamins, baby.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
The Ymyr Conglomerate are rich. They are renowned for two things above all else: vast material wealth and the insanely high-tech shit they make with it.
Hell yeah.
They are the fancy-pantsy boys in terms of just having a fuckload of cash.
Cash.
There are two methods of entry to the Ymyr Conglomerate. Prove your exceptional skill with the Brokir, which are their forge masters, in terms of showing off how incredible you are in the forge by having like gear or ships or mechanics or forging great, impressive stuff, or yield a massive bounty of raw materials for their forges. Which,
hell yeah.
There's no stigma to this. They are pragmatists. If you buy your way in, they're like, good job. We needed that stuff. You know? They are smaller than some leagues, definitely. But they have the largest concentration of incredible technologies in the galactic core. They have remarkable force field generators protecting their worlds, like these giant force domes. They have enormous teleportation hubs for their transit, instead of like regular transit.
Yeah.
Scanning suites, etc. They don't have as large of a military force, but their military is comprised heavily of those big exosuit armored boys. They're much more on the bigger, tankier, tougher guys than the rest.
They're dope. I love them.
They're really, really cool. I think they're my favorite lore-wise. I love their armor suits. I love the red. I love the idea that they just take all of this. Like they're master armorers. That's their custom. Master armorers. They love their beam weaponry, which I'm a big fan of in the tabletop. I like the beams a lot.
As we all are, sure.
We love our good beam. They've got like Warlord trait is guild connections. They've got lots of crafting guilds and like special high-level unions that they use to get the right and the best materials. These guys they know their shit. They build the best stuff. They're some of the wealthiest, and if they go to war, they go to war with the big motherfuckers.
The guns a-blazing. Is that Mini, the one in the green, is that one of the conglomerate guys? Because I really like his that gauntlet. It looks like maybe a gauntlet blaster thing.
Oh yes, so that is. I mean,
that looks really dope.
He's dressed in the GTL colors, I believe. But that would be the. Let me find his name. I don't quite remember. Here it is. The Ymyr Champion.
That's cool.
Very often they have some kind of like lieutenant character. in 40k, often a faction has a captain, which it gives you a like reroll ones to hit. For us, it would be the call. They often have a lieutenant character, which gives you reroll ones to wound, and is often a pretty good beat stick. Like they just run up and punch shit. That's what this guy is. He has a fancy bolter in his arm, and he normally carries either that axe or a big fuck off hammer. And he's got a giant jetpack on his back.
Oh hell yeah! I love a bit. As far as minis go, I love a big ass jetpack. That's the best way to get me in on your factions. Big ass jetpacks.
The guy's got a big ass jetpack and he uses it to run into you.
Hell yeah! What a Chad!
It's
what
called
an absolute giga Chad.
It's called a mass driver, and
Hell
he
yeah,
just rolls up and he goes and he's like just plows into you. It's great.
That's what jetpacks should be used for. Good on him.
Good on him.
Just steamroll, motherfuckers.
Hell yeah! It's a hell of a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
Anywho, that's the Ymyr champion. But the Ymyr Conglomerates, like in game, they get increased range to their ranged weapons. They get special invulnerable saves because of how good their armor is, depending on the type of armor. One of the fun ones is the Warlord trait, which is that Guild Connections one, which increases the damage characteristic of all the weapons the Warlord has by 1. Now, increasing damage is pretty fucking rare in 40k. But I don't remember, because it says it increases the damage of the Warlord's weapons. And I don't remember if the Warlord is only considered a singular model or the entire group of models. I think it might just be the singular model because just because for game's sake, but
yeah.
The Brokir Iron Master, the guy that contains like 4 Yeah, 4 additional robot friends that all have their own guns. And it would be pretty funny to have them have their own like +1 damage to everything.
That'd be crazy.
It'd be kind of crazy.
Sake, yeah, I imagine it's just
the one guy, which
just for game's sake, yeah.
Which is pretty crazy though. He's actually got some pretty nutty stuff. I believe the Ymyr Conglomerate like their Brokir Iron Masters a lot because of just the overall strength of their forges. It's like the lore accurate.
Oh yeah.
And last but not least, we have the Urani-Surtr Regulates. These are also known as the URSR. They are at the southern reaches of the galactic core, and they hold on to areas that are often teeming with enemies. One border has an awoken Necron dynasty. Another of their borders has an orc raid of Bog the Free Buddha King.
Oh,
love orcs. And then another border is haunted by a strangely passive nesting group of Tyranids.
Oh no! So they're sandwiched between all worst case possibilities.
100%. And yet,
oh god.
And yet they refuse to give ground. They refuse to pack it up and flee. And they also refuse to say why. Other than why the ancestors would never forgive them for losing their hold worlds. Did they just say
they're guarding something super special and super secretive, huh?
Maybe. They say they might guard something of secret importance. Others think that it's a grudge that their forebears have kept. Some think they're just too fucking stubborn to give up their land.
All very real possibilities so far.
The thing is, though, is that they admit new kindreds to their league very rarely, and only after extremely extensive tests and secret meetings in which they are never, ever allowed to speak of.
Wow.
Also, nobody has ever left the league. This is a lifelong thing. No one has ever left.
Damn. You know what this sounds like to me?
KGB?
Well, sure. But this sounds to me like it sounds to me like the deadline for the Leagues of Votann were coming up, and they were like, man, we've got a lot of cool ideas for the URSR or whatever, and we haven't totally fleshed them out yet. So let's just make everything super mysterious about them. Nobody leaves. They're guarding something. What are they guarding? Don't know yet. It sounds like maybe they weren't quite finished with the lore yet, and they just were like, hey, mysterious.
Or it's a setup for later stuff, because who knows? There could always be books and shit.
Could be. Yeah, they might already have books ready for it, sure.
Yeah. It gives them a lot of, the cynical side, or your cynical side, is a perfectly acceptable possibility. But at least they made them interesting enough to where it can be expanded upon.
They did. It is interesting to the point where I want to know more, and I want to know what they're guarding, and I want to know, like, why nobody ever leaves, and, even though they're sandwiched in this fucking hellhole. So I'm interested, for sure.
They entirely rely on stoicism, self-reliance, and massive determination. They also disparage wastefulness a lot. They actually live very minimalist. They only eat as much food as they need. They only breathe as much air as they need. Like they're very simple in that way. They really don't like wastefulness, and they just continue that way uncomplaining. They're kind of a little bit of an Iron Warriors feel, where they get the minus the smallest bit, and it's kind of accept it.
Yeah, I imagine they would be very against waste, since they're just in their own little area doing their own little thing.
Yeah, their league custom is like dour survivalists. Their warlord trait is grim pragmatism, which is literally dwelling on pain and discomfort only wastes valuable energy that could be better put to use.
Sounds about right, sure.
Their stratagem is waste not your last breath. Basically, it lets a character that just had been killed to fight on their death.
Oh, wow.
Which is very handy.
Yeah, very handy.
It's pretty fun. I like them in the gameplay a lot because they get +1 toughness, which is the leagues have an ability where you can't re-roll the wound roll against them, and the toughness is entirely dedicated to the wound roll. Like, if it's equal, it's a 4-up. If it's lower, it's a 5-up, that kind of thing, and not allowing them to re-roll it. So your basic ass troop, like your basic dude, the guy that Shai keeps posting in the regulates, like with the logo and the color scheme, that guy is toughness 4, same as a Space Marine. This is moving them up to T5, which is the same as a custodian or like a possessed. And then those dudes with the big chunky armor are already toughness 5, so they're going to 6.
Holy shit!
And then you've got their bikes, which are 5s, and they go to 6s. And then you've got their little ATV carriers, which are 7s, and they go to 8s, which is the same as like a Land Raider. And then you've got their gigantic fuck-off Land Fortress, which is an 8 and goes to a 9, which is incredibly rare. There's like nothing in the game that has a 9 besides Forge World models and like 2 or 3 outliers.
Wow.
So I like them a lot for that, because you can just make fields of these enormously tough guys.
Oh yeah, that's got to be an absolute pain in the ass to deal with.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really like the Ymyr Conglomerate. They're probably my favorite, but it's just a lot of enjoyable.
Yeah. I wanted to know if you have anything on Necromunda Votann, because if not, she got you, brother.
If I'm not mistaken, aren't Necromunda Votann an old amount of Votann that eventually became squats because they were living with the Imperium for a while? Oh my god, that's... Okay,
Hello, wall of text.
Would you like to read that?
Sure. Unlike the League of Votann, these guys are called squats. They came to Necromunda as a cleanup crew in the wake of the Horus Heresy, and they've been here ever since. What can we say? The heresy needed a lot of cleaning up. In the millennia since, the Ironhead mining clans have had minimal contact with their cousins in the galactic core. While they might lack the truly prodigious weapons technology of the Leagues or their helpful robot partners, the artisanal armaments of the mining clan still pack quite a punch, especially in comparison with the rest of the scavenged junk most underhives think of as guns. No one knows quite how many squats make their home on Necromunda. There are dozens of clans living a semi-nomadic life in great land trains striking out across the ash wastes in search of valuable debris left by millennia of industry. These great crawling cities will plunder a dig site for months or years until its riches are depleted, while gangs of iron-head squat prospectors guard the excavation sites or set off into the wastes in search of further loots. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Squats are still around. Don't you worry.
Squats still exist. They haven't totally been squatted.
Squatted?
Yeah.
As
I
he
don't
says.
like the Necromunda minis, though. Something about, like, the visors on their helmet makes them look extra super goofy, and I just can't take them seriously.
Necromunda is just a bit goofier than most things anyway. I mean, have you seen the chicks with, like, the super bright hair and stuff? Like,
Yes, and they're very cool.
Goofy. Okay, well, yes, they're attractive, but it's still goofy.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
It's very
They're
goofy.
really cool.
Before we actually end the episode, I'd like to go through the minis that they have currently, just to kind of show off what they've currently got available, and have let's just see them. So you already saw Uthar the Destined up top. The guy with all the stuff and the crazy ship.
Yeah.
You've also got
Special Blade.
Yeah, you got the Call, which is a small version of Uthar the Destined. That's your classic captain character. Very pretty classic. Nothing too fancy along there with the Call. You have the Ymyr Champion, which you saw already. The dude with the big hammer and the shield on his arm with the gun and the
big
giant
backpack. Yeah.
the mass driver.
Hell yeah.
You saw the Grimnir, of course. Shai, did you post the Broke Here Iron Master? If you didn't, can you post it again? Because I think it's probably one of my favorite minis. And it's also arguably one of the best characters in the entire fucking game.
Wow, really?
He can be just ludicrous, like absolutely ridiculous. Here you go. I click on the attachment. That's what the Broke Here Iron Master looks like. So it's him and a bunch of cog friends, which is pretty fun.
Oh, I hate the way he looks, though. He looks like a slimy aristocrat that bought his way into power. I don't like the way he looks.
Looks like an engineer. What do you mean? Look at all of his fucking engineering tool belts and stuff.
Yeah,
and his big visor.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about him just to me reads as like a slimy aristocrat douchebag.
Well,
I don't know what it is.
Well, you're wrong.
His machine's very cool, though. Love the little tech machines that he's got, though.
It is the face. It's this fucking giant mustache. It probably is.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's the face that reads that, and he's got like kind of the coat thing, and yeah.
Next are the Hearthkin Warriors. These are your classic foot troop, foot soldier. Those are the ones that Shai's been posting on each of the color scheme variations. Hearthkin Warriors are your classic. They're like your basic troop.
Yeah. There's your basic foot soldier. You have like a shitload of them in every army.
Sometimes they come in squads of 10. You can give them some melee. You can give them some guns. You can give them some like medic packs and stuff. It's just lots of stuff like that. Yeah. You have the Ymyr Hearthguard, which are very fun. Those are these guys. They are the ones that have the giant. Like the big power blades on their shoulder or on their arms. Those like Ezio's little power blade.
Yeah, I love them.
They're very so dope. They're very, very cool. They've got great. They can take plasma guns. They have shoulder mounted grenade launchers, which is really fun.
Hell yeah!
They can teleport. They're almost kind of like Terminators. One we haven't seen much of is the Chthonian Berserks.
Ooh.
These are like tough as nails people. They're carrying around giant hammers, or sometimes these big ass axes, plasma axes, or sometimes just two giant concussion fists.
Oh, I love the concussion fists. Those are so cool.
Twin
giant
concussion
robo fists.
gauntlets.
Hell yeah.
They're really fun. They are very squishy, sort of kinda, but they run up, beat the fucking shit out of you. And then
and then leave.
And then leave, or die immediately afterwards. They're squishy, but they're pretty nutty. They're pretty crazy. Next up is the Hernkin Pioneers. These are the bikes. I love the bikes. They are also probably the best unit in the Codex.
Okay.
Because they are the only unit that's genuinely fast. Has some great weapons. They've got shotguns and revolvers and little like auto cannons you can put on them. Mm-hmm. They're the only thing that has fly in the Codex, so they can fly over stuff. They're pretty great.
Damn,
they move fast. They move fast. They're tough. They're tanky. They're kind of tanky-ish. They're a great time.
Those are so dope.
I like the bikes a lot. They I have a couple of them from the boxes.
Hell yeah.
Next up is the Sagittar. The Sagittar is a small troop transport. Looks like a moon rover buggy.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. I've seen those in a couple of the pictures you've shown already. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty fun. They got little wheels on. They roll their way around. They're not too big. They can carry little groups of 5. They got some bolt cannons and stuff. You can take a couple of them. They're pretty fun. They're just kind of small little rovers. They're enjoyable.
Yeah, kind of looks like a Mako.
Yeah,
like a domed Mako a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit with a few more curves than the Mako.
Yeah, it's a curvy Mako.
They've the last infantry unit you have is the Brokir Thunderkin, which is probably the worst of the minis in terms of gameplay, but they're like my favorite looking. They're the dudes in those exo armor suits with the giant fuck off gun.
Oh hell yeah, giant fuck off gun, let's go.
Yeah, they can carry a bolt cannon, a graviton blast cannon, or a conversion beamer. I personally am going to run them with the beam. I think in that picture he's carrying the beam. Mm-hmm. I like them a lot because the way beam weapons work in 40k is that you fire at something and then everything along the path also gets hit.
Ooh,
because it's a beam.
Yeah,
so
naturally,
it rewards good like spacing and good positioning, so you can kind of like hit as many as you can. Mm-hmm. A lot of fun. And
you
the last
do
one,
some decent alien cosplay with that. Painted up yellow, have that like exosuit look to it.
Oh yeah. Get away from her, you bitch.
Just make a note of always fighting the Tyranids. Sure,
that's not bad. And the last but not least is the Hackathon Land Fortress. This ludicrously large son of a bitch.
It's a turtle.
It's a giant turtle. It's a big turtle with tiny little wheels.
Tiny little feet, yeah.
It's this thing carries a just ludicrous amount of guns.
Yes, it does.
Just a ton. You can run it with a giant heavy Magna rail cannon, which is basically like the Tau railgun. It can carry troops. It's tanky as shit.
Jeez.
It's just really good.
Does everything.
I particularly enjoy running it with you can replace its bolt cannons with beams, so I can give it 4 beams and then an even bigger beam on the top.
Jesus.
And I'm just like, I'm the beam tank.
So everybody that has Votans probably runs one of these fuckers.
Well, it's not quite out yet, unfortunately, but
okay.
I would be shocked if many people aren't running one. It originally was 220 points, and it recently, thanks to GW's patch, has gone up to 300.
Wow.
Which is a enormous nerf, but probably acceptable because it was insane.
Yeah, it's probably still worth it. Just, Yeah, for only 200 points, that's a steal.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Agreed.
I like it a lot. Well, 220 points, but yeah, it was
still. Yeah,
it was
220 points for this big beefy land fortress. That's a steal.
It is.
I'd buy that for $1.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh yeah. Damn.
Anyway, that's all I've got in terms of my stuff.
Hell yeah, Leagues of Votann are dope. I think GW did a pretty good job with them.
I really like the minis so far. They could use a few other options. They could definitely use perhaps some more like melee troops, I'd say. Maybe like a hybrid troop of some kind. I wouldn't mind like a driller mech like the squats have. Like something that's kind of like a dreadnought, but their version of a dreadnought, or like a kilocan. That'd be a lot of fun. But besides those, I'm pretty pleased with their line.
Yeah, I like them. I dig them. Dig them. Smacks. I dig them.
Did you really just fucking dig them smacks?
Yeah, man.
Did you actually hit me with that, dude? We're old.
Well, of course we are. We're Warhammer fans.
Old.
We're old.
All right, I'm going to bed.